Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV. And it's a beautiful day here on the Gold Coast. We're heading into the sort of cooler months here, so it's very early in the morning here. And I actually am a morning person. I used to always be up before the sun got up when I was much younger, but now I tend to wait until the sun gets up most days. But anyway, it's wonderful to have your company here again on this show, and our last one before Easter. So Easter means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and I'm not about to go into the religious side of it because I think that's a very personal belief. But I do believe that this is a very special time of the year when we need to stop and reflect and look at how important our family and our friends are to us. And I think that's the important message that everybody should be taking forward this Easter, is the fact that life is sometimes too short. Things change, people move, people pass away, and we never know really what's around the corner. We think we do, and we think we've got plenty of time up our sleeves. So why not make a little bit of extra special effort this Easter to spend some time with the people that really matter the most to you? So anyway, let's kick the show off on a very, very positive note. And I'm really pleased to say we've got a really positive card this week for the card of the week, and it's called the Sun. Happiness, bright prospects. So it's a card to me that really radiates what the season is about. And it is about happiness and bright prospects and spending time with the people that you care about the most this Easter. So it's a really bright, positive, lovely card to start our festivities off. So this week I want to dive straight into our little trip around the universe, because we've got the second full moon in Libra in a row. Now, I know a lot of people are a little bit confused at what does the second full moon in the same sign mean, and most people by now might know, that are regular watchers of the show, that if we have two full moons in one calendar month, that means we have what's called a blue moon. If we have two new moons in the same calendar month, that's called a black moon. When we have a second full moon in the same sign, and I'm going to say this was not in this calendar month, it was 30 days apart, it doesn't really have any great special significance other than we were very fortunate this year to have two full moons in Libra back to back. So it just means it's about balance. It's about looking at things that might be important to us in our lives and bringing the truth out. And I feel about being truthful with ourselves and the people that are closest to us, and really analysing and understanding our emotions. Now, sometimes at holiday periods, I know people say to me, oh, gee, look, I dread holidays because it means the family get-togethers and they all have a little bit too much to drink, and, then starts the tangles and the gripes and the whinges and the whatevers about what they've perceived that somebody else has done to them that they didn't like. And, I'm really dreading it's going to end up in a family argument, and I don't really want to be in that energy. I suppose sometimes we can't avoid those things. That's called being human. But this year, maybe, just maybe, with the full moon landing on Good Friday here in Australia, I'm hoping that people can start to put their grievances to one side and look at what the season is about. If you're religious, then you follow your religious beliefs and don't eat red meat on Good Friday, and you only have fish. But for a lot of us, it's the start of being able to spend some quality time with the people that we love. So it's not the time to air all the family dirty washing and start to talk about the grievances that we might have. Maybe it's a time to be a little bit more on the gentle side and have somebody there as the arbitrator and say, hey, okay, let's look at both sides of the argument and say, let's agree to disagree. We don't always have to have a right and a wrong and a winner and a loser. Let's just be all comfortable that we're all entitled to our own opinion and our own gripes, and let's just enjoy the day. So it's very, very interesting because astrologically this ties in with the full moon in Libra as well. We've got Venus, the planet of love and affection, is holding hands or conjunct Mercury, the planet of communication. Now, they're both in Pisces, so we know anytime we've got something in water, it can be terribly emotional. Good, bad or indifferent, it's emotional, and it tends to bring things to the surface. But when the energy's in Pisces, in the very last few degrees of the sign of Pisces, It's asking us to have a purge of anything that no longer suits us, or removing or releasing things that are connected with matters of the heart and things that we maybe need to communicate. But this time, the slight difference is that Mercury is also holding hands with the planet Chiron. Now, the planet Chiron is the wounded healer, so he's asking us to heal our old emotions. But Chiron has actually sitting in the next sign of Aries, so it's all about me first, about wanting to break free, to move forward, to start new beginnings. So I feel what this is, the energy that these three planets holding hands together or conjunct are trying to share with us this Easter is, yes, we can have matters that are very close to our heart that we need to discuss or bring up. And yes, some of these may be painful. They may be things that we feel that we need to release. But maybe, just maybe, we can find a fresh start out of all this and heal old wounds. Maybe we can heal some of those deep-seated family arguments that have been going on for centuries, and maybe we can all find some peace this time. One would hope so, that it can be a time of renewal and peace and looking towards the future. So that takes me on to the candle of the week this week, which is obviously we're going to be working with the full moon because it's the full moon. So we've got the full moon candle, which is a really, really nice fragrant candle to be able to burn. So with the full moon this year, because it's coming on to Easter and it's our second full moon of the month, why don't you sort of try and relate it to something that may be family related or old emotions or something like that that you would like to release over the Easter period. Now, normally I suggest you burn your candles between 15 minutes to 2 hours a day, but this is something that could be burnt over the Easter period, and still write your little list and put it underneath and, you know, sort of read it out aloud when no one else is around, but still sort of sharing and maybe a broader picture with the list that you're going to write, and maybe put it as the whole family healing group or something like that, the things that the family collectively need to release. And it might be that we're not going to sit in judgment of somebody in the family who does things that we don't all approve of. So we've got the 2 week systems, you know, so I like to light one day and one the next day. It just gives you a longer burn time, and that just sort of makes it a little bit more economical. And the fact that we're in the air sign, we're in the Libra, so we would be burning an air sign sort of candle, if I can get the candle label around the right way this morning. Okay, so this is the Libra one. Same principle would apply. You've got the beautiful energy of the Librian energy, bringing the scales into balance. So if you look at anything in Libra as like the High Court judge, bringing down their judgment, bringing down the balance, trying to find the truth in everything. So this could really sort of enhance and keep everybody a little bit calmer when we're burning both of these candles around the Easter table and the Easter festivities, which is good. For those of you that might want to work with something smaller, can I suggest a gift box set? This one I've made up of the full moon in the middle and the air sign either side, but you can choose any of the 28 that we have in the range, and we have 28 candles that go for just about everything. You know, we have candles for people that have had loss, we have candles for people that want to increase their money, and the list goes on. For those of you that say, that's great, Amanda, but I don't really want to work with the flame of a candle, can I suggest a melt warmer? Pick these up at your local department store, inexpensive. They are electric. You start out with 2 teaspoons of wax. So at the beginning, I would put 1 teaspoon of each and then half a teaspoon each day. Again, writing the list, popping it underneath. This is something that you can safely leave going around without having to worry about a constant flame. So that's a good suggestion there. So moving right along, we've been featuring a famous actor or actress each week here on the show, and we've been following the zodiac around. And this week I'm pleased to say we're up to the female in Capricorn. Now, when I started to do my research, and I always try and keep it a little bit on the variety side, something there for everybody. Each week we feature someone different. But this week I couldn't go past the one and only Betty White. Now, Betty White's well and truly in her 90s now, and what an amazing lady she is. She is the epitome of a well-groomed, well-educated, sometimes outspoken lady that speaks her mind, but at the same time with great grace and humour. And she's been in the industry over 80 years. Now, isn't that a very, very, very long time to say that you've had a career? And she's sort of probably one of the most pioneering women that we've seen on television. She was the first one to do so many things, too many things to list, too many awards that she's won over the years. But I think one of the most important things is her versatility. Not only has she been an actress, she's been behind the camera, she's directed, she's helped write scripts, but she's also been a show host on, game shows. She's done it all. And I think in true Betty White style, and the way that she's able to epitomise her roles and really make them her own, I think Sue Ann Nivens from the Golden Girls would be very proud of our dear Betty White. And may you live a very, very long time, Betty, because you are still such an inspiration to women around the world. So we're going to take our first caller, and that is Natalie in London. Are you there, Natalie?
Hello. Yes,
Hello.
I am. Hi.
Hi, Natalie. Do you have a question I can work with, sweetie?
Sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Do you have a question I could answer for you, please, Natalie?
Yeah, please. I would just like to know what I have ahead of me at all. If there's anything that you can get for me.
Okay. I really like to work with a direct question if that's possible, because we have such a short time to sort of tune into you. I want to make sure that we get to what's the most pressing issue for you.
Love. Should we start with love? Just love, please.
Okay. All right, love. Oh, this is a very interesting topic for you. I'm seeing a scattering of broken hearts here, and I'm going to say I think that's probably how you feel that your love life has been if we were to look in the rear vision mirror of your life. And it's sort of like a lot of times I'm going to say no fault of your own, but it sort of seemed to be, darling, that you'd seem to attract people that weren't quite right in some way. You had a real... I was going to say a passion, but I don't think that's the right word. But you seem to attract people that had issues that needed to be fixed up, that sort of, needed to be put back together again, a bit like Humpty Dumpty. And now I want to say to you, Natalie, it's time we don't need to do that. We need to find somebody now that's already all together, somebody that can come into your life and bring you some happiness and put a smile on your face without you having to do the work. So I'm pleased to say that there is someone coming into your life. We're in April now. They keep showing me the month of August. Now, I know you're sort of heading into your summertime over there, and that's a really nice time of the year to be out and about a lot more, and the weather being warmer, and people sort of seem to be in a better humour, I think, no matter where you are in the world, when it's a bit warmer.
Yeah.
But I've got a really nice tall gentleman, and I'm going to say he would have black hair, but I think now he's probably, the hair's a little bit lighter in colouring as he's getting more mature. But he's got this amazing sense of humour. That's the first thing that jumps out at me, is this wicked sense of humour that does nothing but make you laugh, and you sort of feel like you're a giggly 16-year-old again, and there's nothing wrong with that, let me assure you. But I feel it will develop into a very, very nice relationship, where he's very good to you. He's somebody that's going to make you feel like a princess. He's going to make you pleased to be alive. And you just sort of feel as if everything that you've ever wanted has come to you finally at last. You're getting everything that you've ever wished for in a relationship, and that's good. I do feel the remainder of this year will be about closing other doors off. I do feel the remainder of this year, Natalie, will be closing other doors off and sort of allowing things to sort of come to their own natural end. So it is a year where you can have great gains, but you're also going to have doors that will close and sort of signal the end of certain chapters of your life. So it's a very exciting year for you, Natalie. So you should really enjoy it.
Hallelujah. Yeah, no,
but it's well deserved.
That sounds like it sounds interesting.
Yeah, but it's well deserved, Natalie. You've waited such a long time to get to this point. So, it's good to see that it's finally happened for you.
Almost.
Yes.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. That's made me feel a little bit better.
Oh, well, that's good, Natalie. That's what we're here for, is to give you something positive to hopefully hang on to and look forward to, but also at the same time to be truthful. If there was no one coming, I would have told you, because there's no point in spinning a fairy tale and nothing comes of it. You know, you've worked hard to get to this point. You've helped so many people throughout your life. It's now your turn. It's now your turn to be able to say, well, hang on a minute, I want a little bit for me now. And I don't have to feel guilty about it because I've helped everybody else. It's my turn. And that's good. And that's what's happening for you now, Natalie. So enjoy your Easter break, sweetie. And look forward to connecting with you again in the future. You're very, very welcome. So, it's, you know, as I said, it's a very lovely to speak with you, Natalie. It's a very busy time for most people as we head towards the Easter break, and we're sort of preparing for all our family rituals and the things that we need to be dealing with in our lives. So it's good that we actually have the time, I think, to reflect a little bit over this break too about what it is that we want to bring towards us for the remainder of this year. It's a very powerful year. It's a year not to be wasted. And on that note, we're going to talk to Tamara in Princeton in Ontario in Canada. Are you there, Tamara?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you, sweetie. How can I help you tonight?
My question is, I'm wondering whether I should move from the property that I live on to be closer into the city, basically a career, or whether I should stay here and open up my own business. I'm kind of have an inkling for that, and also I can build a rental property here, but it would use up all my savings, so it's kind of making me a bit nervous.
Oh, look, Tamara, I can appreciate that you're feeling nervous, and particularly in these uncertain times as life seems to be going very fast at the moment. And, you know, we've got so much uncertainty around the world with all the political changes and things like that that are going on. And it's, you know, I think we get to a certain stage in our lives, Tamara, where we don't want to make a mistake. It's a bit different when you're 20 and you're robust and you think that, you know, you can have anything you want in the world. And as you go along and things don't quite work out the way that you want them to, we become a little bit more cautious. Some people say we become wise. I like to use the word cautious. And I think we forget how to sort of think on our feet and go snap, snap, snap. This is what I want to do. And that's what I want to see come back into your world a little bit more, Tamara, is that ability to think on your feet, not over-analyse everything. Look, I'm not saying that if you were to move towards the city, that would be the right decision for you in some ways. Yes, I mean, you could carve out a really good career and, you know, financially be very comfortable and set up a secure old age, but I don't believe your heart's in it. And that's the thing that sort of makes me hesitant to sort of say that that's the right decision. If you wanted to play the safe road and say, okay, I could see this, it's all mapped out, I just join the dots like a child's colouring in book going from, 12 to 13 to 14 to 15 to 16, that'd be your choice. But I feel deep down in your soul, Tamara, I think you're anchoring to sort of try and stay where you are and start your own business and build a rental property and throw caution to the wind and say, I really want to follow my passion. I really want to follow my dream. Now, I'm sort of leaning towards that decision more so than the city one. But again, I would say to you, we need to be grown up here. We need to be practical. We need to be logical. And we also need to crunch the numbers. So I think before you make a final decision, what I want you to do is look at what your setup costs would be for the new business. How long would you anticipate before you'd be able to see a return on, your money that you're ploughing into the new business? What skills do you have? Do you need to go and do some training in that area? What would it cost you to build a property, a rental income property, these sort of things, and then weigh it up very carefully. But I think you're going to stay where you are, and I think you're going to sort of start a new business up, and I know you're going to be hugely successful, because to me that's where your soul is taking you. That's where your passion is. And I think when we have passion behind something, I think we have more tolerance to make it work. And it's like, even though going back towards the city is the safer of the two options, I just don't feel it would be fulfilling. And I think you already know all that, don't you, Tamara?
I do, because I did work professionally for 26 years, and it was for the salary. Like, there was no joy in it. it was, you know, it was
No,
a
and
job.
that's what I mean. There's got to be something in your life at this stage that gives you joy, hasn't there?
Yeah, I actually want to build a private pet setting business on my property because my issue also is I can't drive. I'm visually impaired, but I'm
Right.
still I'm not blind. I can still like read paperwork and work on the computer. It's just, and also I love living in the country. You know, this is kind of what my dream was to live out in nature. So I am happier here. It's just, you know, I need to provide some sort of income and also just to be busy doing something that I love. And I love pets. So, and I know it's an issue around here that people don't really like using kennels. You know, it's not very comfortable for them, you know, to know that their loved pet is going to be kenneled. Whereas I can provide like a nice house, and I'm an empty nester. I don't have any children left to raise. So what I am leaning towards, I'm just afraid of failure.
Yeah, no, I think you've got to. I just feel, Tamara, you've got to follow your heart on this. You know, like if you go back to the city, I think that's going to shorten your life. And, you know, shouldn't you have a life that fulfills what your soul is screaming out for? You know, okay, you mightn't make quite as much money, but do you need as much money in the country as you would in the city? You know what I mean? And I just think that your heart's going to sing, and I think you can sort of show the people around you that, you know, things don't always have to be status quo, what they know. Sometimes they can open their hearts and their ideas up to new things coming into the area. I think you already have the answer. I think you're going to stay put and build a little rental income and, you know, and enjoy being in nature because that's where you need to be, Tamara.
Yeah, and the other thing is, too, I already have experience owning rental properties. I've done it before, and I just recently sold my old house. But I've been renting commercially and residentially, so I have the experience behind it. So that doesn't make me nervous.
There you go.
It's just the amount of money that I'm going to have to spend.
Yeah, I can understand that, but that's what I mean. Crunch the numbers, look at what works best for you. Maybe, you know, maybe you're going to build a little bit smaller rental property that mightn't yield you as much, but you feel more comfortable as far as finances are concerned. And then, you know, you've got the opportunity then to get your little business off the ground. I just think it's, you would never be happy going back to the city. That's my take on this. It would be, you know, if you were ready to go back there and sort of just live a humdrum, you know, black and white life instead of a life full of colour, then go to the city. But if you want a life full of colour, you've got to stay in the country.
Okay, I agree.
Wonderful. Lovely to talk to you, Tamara. Have a very, very happy Easter. So we only have, you know, a few minutes left on the show now. And I want to just sort of talk to you about being aware of your emotions over this Easter break, that you need to make sure that you can put yourself into the other person's shoe. I know we've talked about, you know, family get-togethers and all those sort of things. And for those of you that sort of believe in the other secondary side, in some cases, some people say the more important side of Easter is how many chocolate Easter eggs are we going to consume over this period. And as you can see on the set in the background, I've got my Easter basket there waiting for the Easter Bunny to come to bring me an Easter egg. But Easter Bunny did leave me one beautiful big plastic egg that you can see there that was filled up with lots of little Easter eggs. So, you know, Easter Bunny is a very important part of Easter as well. And I think we need to be mindful of the children and our grandchildren in our lives. Our children and our grandchildren deserve to be able to have this ritual as well of what does the Easter Bunny mean? Why do we celebrate the Easter egg hunt? In some belief systems, they actually colour real sort of chicken eggs and things like that and go on the Easter egg hunt that way. We need to be setting down some traditions that our little people can take through to their adult life with them. I mean, my children are very grown now and I have grandchildren, but I know when my children were little, Easter to them was, yes, they understood the religious connotation of it, but they also looked forward to the family traditions of the Sunday morning Easter egg hunt, where Easter Bunny would hide the Easter eggs in most peculiar places. And it didn't matter where we were for Easter. Easter Bunny seemed to still find us, and he still seemed to manage to hide the eggs in obscure places, and children get such delight out of that. And I think it's also educational that they learn to share and they learn to count. You know, how many Easter eggs did they find that the Easter Bunny left them? You know, they learn to share with their siblings or their other family members. So it's a time of great learning and showing children that Easter is a very important time of the year on many, many levels. And I think that's something that they didn't take into their adult life. So be mindful of that, you know, be mindful of trying to get on with your family and your relatives and, you know, not everybody ending up in World War III, because it's not a time of arguments and it's not a time of airing the dirty washing of the family. It's a time of everybody learning to get on with each other and setting a great example for the younger members of our family. But it's also a time that I think we need to fondly remember those that are no longer with us. And I think it's a very important time to sit down and tell some of those family stories about great-grandma and great-grandpa and the struggles that they had, or they migrated from one country to another, and this is part of the family history. Even though little ones might not seem like they're absorbing these stories, they actually are. And it's something that will resonate with them over their lifetime. Those little stories will come back and give them the strength at different times in their lives when they may be facing an uphill battle or don't know an answer to something, that they can draw on the strength of their ancestors. So I think overall, Easter is a very important, powerful time of the year that we all should take the time to celebrate, to stop, breathe and acknowledge our loved ones, past and present, and spend some quality time with the people that matter the most. So I hope whatever you're doing over this Easter period, wherever you are in the world, that you find peace and joy and happiness, and you make sure that you have a smile on your face and you say some kind things to someone else, because it is the time of the year where we can share some kindness and some smiles. And remember to include people that may not necessarily have family or friends close by. They really need to have the hand of love and friendship extended to them as well. So whatever you're doing, have a happy Easter. And I hope the Easter Bunny brings you many, many treats over the week. And next week we'll all be back again a little bit heavier from eating so much chocolate and eating too much pie and too many goodies. But until then, have a great week and happy Easter. Bye for now.